we're going to have a very interesting conversation this morning, and some of the topics that we're going to be dealing with, the three topics we're going to attempt to delve in and deal with exhaustively, will be on the new voters register. The EC justifies the 400 million Ghana Citi budget. Also, the road sector, that incident that happened yesterday, the road minister orders demolition of illegal drains and the arrest of contractors. And then also the landmark ruling, the Supreme Court orders for courts to sit on weekends and holidays. All right, so we're looking at those stories. Let me introduce my guest to you. I have Abdul-Aziz Mohammed, who is an MP of Mion constituency. Good morning, Abdul. How are you?
Good morning. I'm blessed and good to see you this morning.
Good to see you. It's my first time hosting you.
Yeah.
And it's good to have you here.
Thank you.
We're going to have an interesting conversation this morning. I also have seated in studio Nana Oppong Damoah, who is the Director of Communications at the Ministry of Energy. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
By the grace of God, we're doing very well.
It's good to have you here.
Good to have you.
Yeah. So today is the first time that we are meeting each other. Yeah. I'm sure you know each other though, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. So let's delve into the conversation for today. I'm going to read quickly the first story, and then we'll start the conversation. All right. So 400 million Ghana Citi, not for equipment only. EC justifies budget for new register. CitiNewsroom.com. The Electoral Commission is defending the 444.8 million Ghana Citi it is requesting for the compilation of a new voters register ahead of the 2020 general election. The Commission is seeking budgetary approval from Parliament to enable it undertake its activities for the election period over claims that the existing register is not credible enough for the polls. Many, including the major opposition party, the NDC, have raised concerns over the EC's decision, saying that it's a misplaced priority. But justifying the need on Eyewitness News, Director of Elections at the EC, Dr. Kwaku, insisted that the current register should be replaced to make it more capable of tackling the verification challenges that occur on election day at least given experiences from the past elections. And I'm quoting, "We have made it very clear that the current biometric system is not good enough for future activities. We are having a lot of challenges with it. In addition to that, a lot of people have found it difficult to have their fingerprints picked up by the machine. So we intend to introduce the facial recognition option in addition, so that if your fingerprint fails, your image will be used for verification. So we want to improve on the quality of the biometric verification. In addition, suppliers are no longer producing the kind of machines we use. So it will be difficult to refurbish when their parts break down. So there is a need for us to replace the system." Okay. Let me jump straight into the conversation and start with you, Nana. The EC is a lot of money that you're asking for. My question stems from the fact that whenever you're doing procurement, you're looking for value for money. Value for money is not just the cost of the product today, but it's after sales service or after sales serviceability, of the product, right? So if they found out, for example, that they are not making or manufacturers are not making the machines anymore, is it not a waste of our resources that? It's like you procured equipment a few years ago, not too long ago. You're now going to procure a new set of equipment again. What do you make of this?
Thank you very much. Good morning to you once again. Good morning to your viewers as well. I take the position that, first of all, legally, it's the Electoral Commission that has been mandated to oversee affairs regarding elections in this country. So they making such proposals is not anything illegal, is not anything out of their mandate. The second thing I think is that elections, we all have an idea of the history of elections in this country. You may want to avert your minds to 2008 when scores of people thronged the Electoral Commission headquarters with the claims that things had gone wrong. You may want to avert your mind to 2012 election petition when after an election, and my party felt aggrieved that there were several instances of wrongdoing that had gone on. We went to court, we all saw what had happened, what played out in the courts. We also want to avert our minds to the 2016 elections, where the NDC claimed that the elections had been rigged and that there were instances of overvoting and some other things in some other areas. But then they said, I mean, I even remember that at a point, the head of the Electoral Commission at that time made a declaration that indeed their transmittal systems had been hacked or something of the sort. I also remember their current flag bearer making a claim that the Electoral Commission systems were hacked in 2016 and they haven't come out yet to explain anything of the sort. So all of this creates a certain context within which we need to, have this discussion. What's clear from this context that I've given is that elections are very important in this country, and I don't think that any amount of money is worth, keeping or holding on to for the peace that we enjoy in this country. We've also seen that there have been instances where we've been driven very close to chaotic circumstances, all because of elections. So anything that can be done in improving our electoral system in this country, in the hopes of keeping the peace, in the hopes of ensuring that the legitimacy of our elected representatives is preserved beyond all reasonable doubt, for me, is a go. It's a must. So far, I've established 2 points. One, that the Electoral Commission is within its legal mandate to make the proposals they are making. 2, I think it is very important that we do not even consider the value or the cost of what is being done, because credible elections for me is first and foremost, beyond any other thing. What are we looking at? The Electoral Commission is saying that the current system that it is working with has problems. I have read an article that Madam Jean Mensah is saying that the register is credible but overstretched. And in that article, she seems to say that we have worked with a register for a period of time, and now we are stretching that register and it may break at a certain point in time. So in their estimation, it's best that we compile a new register that looks forward into the future. In the 2012 election...
What's wrong with amending and improving the quality of what we currently have as opposed to...
The argument she makes basically is that it cannot go any further than where it has gotten to. Why does she make this argument? And I'm just repeating what I have read. Firstly, the technology that we are using cannot be supported any further. And as a result, it's creating more problems for us than we would otherwise have. We have a biometric verification device that is supposed to ensure that the person is really who he says he is. The world moved from manual, verification issues towards biometric verification as a result of improvement in technology. And remember that Ghana shelled out whatever amount of money that we shelled out towards the 2012 elections because we felt that we needed a biometric verification issue. So you capture the data biometrically and then you verify the individual biometrically. Because previously there are accusations of all sorts of things that were happening. If we feel today as a country we do not need biometric verification, then let's go back and revert to the manual. But if we do need it, then the argument that is being made is that our current devices are no longer able to hold up to the tasks. Increasingly, we are having to resort to manual verification. Increasingly. So then, what was the point of having all of these devices that are supposed to verify individuals biometrically? But then we end up having to verify them manually anyway. The proposal is, these devices can no longer support this process. Increasingly, the devices are failing. So what we want to do is, yes, the thumbprint, you verify. But if that fails, we are putting in a second layer of biometric registration, which is facial recognition. So if you put your hand in there and it doesn't work, you have to put your face to a camera and it will also do that. 2 layers, which is what most people do around, in the banks around the world, anywhere that anything important is being done and biometric verification is necessary. We have, multiple layers of verification that enables us to be sure that indeed we have cleaned out the system. I don't think, with all due respect, that this is an evil or a bad suggestion in itself at all, considering the heights to which this nation has gone. One of the critical defenses that the NDC as a political party put up in 2013, 2014 was that they were virtually held hostage as a government from January to August, thereabout, of 2013 because there was a court case involving the legitimacy of the then sitting president. Do we need to go through that process again? Remember, before the election, we were told that no verification, no vote.
Yeah.
In the court case, we realized that a lot of people were actually verified manually because the systems weren't working. We went beyond that and tried to make improvements in the 2016 election. This time around, it was no longer the NPP that was complaining. It was the NDC that was complaining that the credibility of the elections was at stake. However, they took the turn, and I suspect it is because they could not prove their claims.
Let me come back to you in a bit. Abdul-Aziz, do you believe in support of the system, and what's your opinion on the system itself being for us to get a new register entirely?
Good morning to you. Good morning to our viewers, especially my constituents back at Mion. Our position has been made known to the public. We don't support any move by the Electoral Commission to compile a new register. As a party, we are committed to growing our democracy, and we think that credible, free and fair elections are very critical. In fact, it's the foundation of our democracy. And so as a party, we commit ourselves to any move that would improve on our electoral systems, any reform that would strengthen our electoral systems. We do support that. And so even if you observe all the major milestones that we have recorded in respect of electoral reforms have been occasioned by the NDC. I remember somewhere in 1996, we had to introduce the transparent ballot boxes. You know, in 92, we had these opaque ballot boxes. Yeah. In 96, we had to improve the system to use the transparent ballot boxes. In 2000, we changed the voter ID from the ordinary black and white to a color voter IDs. If you recall, right from 2001 up to 2008, there was no any reform at the EC to strengthen our electoral reforms. Again, it was when we assumed power that we insisted on biometric verification. And so we again had to oversee the introduction of biometric verification in 2012. And so our commitment to improving our register is not in doubt. But we are saying that at this time, we are not convinced that we need a register. And if you observe, we have always changed our register every decade, every 10 years. That has been the regular practice, not backed by law, but that has been the practice. The current register that we are using was compiled in 2012. And so it doesn't make any sense to us that someone is calling for a new register. Barely some 7 years after the register, someone wants to compile a new register. We think that there is some sinister move somewhere that we need to be very careful about. You see, if you listen to Mr. Tete, Samuel Tete, who is the deputy chair of the Electoral Commission in charge of operations, he has indicated publicly in a press conference that the register that we used just 2 days ago for the district level elections is very credible. That is not coming from Asirun Ketia or our national chairman. That is coming from the deputy chair of the Electoral Commission. That the register that we used for the district level elections just 2 days ago, Tuesday, is a very credible register. And that the register has been overstretched. What do you mean by saying that a register is credible but overstretched? Doesn't make sense to you. All that we want is a credible register. You have admitted, Bosman Asari himself has admitted publicly that this register is credible. So what is the problem here? We need to be convinced that there's a real need for a new register.
So let me play the devil's advocate here.
Yes.
The EC, when the tradition of changing every 10 years was pretty much from the beginning without advanced technology. Then we got into the space where we are now doing biometric verification using all forms of advanced software and technology and all that,
Yes,
right?
yes.
But we all know that technology quickly becomes outdated. So if it's, let's say, 7 years down the road, maybe it's not too soon. Maybe
I get you right. See, technology evolves.
Yeah, and very quickly.
And when it does, you have to follow with the pace. And so if you are making excuse of increasing levels of manual verification, it means that the problem is a software, not the register. It means the problem is a software. So all that you do is to go and upgrade your software. Period.
But the argument they were making also is that the producers of the software and equipment are no longer supporting what they did. So now they have to get in a whole new procurement.
But if I may just point out something to you.
What's that?
The issue with the verification is not just with the software, but also with the devices and the register. And this is why. In the current register, every individual who is there is supported by biometric data, which is your fingerprint. Now, so the register there is not just a list of names. It's a compilation of names.
We all know that.
May I finish?
No, we all know that.
So if you allow me.
Provide
it's a compilation
us with new
I'm
information.
coming. It's a compilation of names
Yes.
and biometric data.
Yes.
What the EC is saying is that we've realized that the fingerprints are not reliable because increasingly they begin to fail. So we want to bring in a 2-layer biometric data system, which is, yes, your fingerprints,
and the facial
and this time
recognition.
around, the facial recognition.
Okay.
You cannot get the facial recognition from anywhere except through a new register.
I'm sure you made this point when you were speaking. You have not made available to us any new
But
information.
what you have sought to do is to downplay the importance of that role.
Let him finish.
In a very disingenuous
I'm telling
way.
you, if you admit that the register is credible, and that is not coming from the NDC headquarters, the EC, people who are in charge of the Electoral Commission, says the register is credible. You only change a register when you are convinced that it is not more credible. When you talk about increasing levels of manual verification because of the failure of the system, I am telling you that it is simple logic that the problem is the software and not the register. You remember somewhere in 2015-16, the current vice president, who was the running mate to Nana Oppong Damoah, came out to say that they had gone through the register then, and they had analyzed about 10% of the register, and they had found out that about 10%, about 76,000 people who were on the register were not supposed to be on the register. In fact, they claim that foreigners were on our register. And according to his statistics, about 76,000 foreigners had their names on our register, and that they had only analyzed 10% of it. If we are going to do some extrapolation, that would have given you close to 1 million. And he promised to get back to us with the other 90% of so-called work that he was supposed to do. Up to now, he hasn't done that. This was a register that you sought to say wasn't credible. You won an election with this register. You claim you won the election with some 1 million votes difference. Why do you fear that same register? There's an attempt to disenfranchise people.
Really?
Yes. There's an attempt to suppress voter registration in some parts of this country. That is all that the Mensa and the EC wants to do.
But why would you attribute such shenanigans to the EC when in reality, I mean, if we say that we're going to improve the verifiability of their system by giving fingerprint and facial recognition. Facial recognition is both mechanical plus a software.
So if you want to add a second layer,
yes.
If you want to add a second layer to the verification process, we say we do changes every 10 years. Why are you in a haste?
Okay.
Why are you in a haste? That makes us believe that someone has some ulterior motive. And as the largest opposition party in this country, we have every right to hold the EC to their words and to their actions. They have more serious things to do. You talked about 2016 general elections. Why? The law requires the EC to gazette the election results. In fact, the then EC chair, Madam Charlotte Osei, had indicated publicly that their system had been compromised. Up to date, we have not been told how it was compromised and who did that. The burden doesn't lie on her again because she's no more at the commission. The institution runs on a continual basis. Yeah. So we expected the current EC, the leadership, to tell us if their system was compromised, why was that done, and who did that.
Would the NDC
that
be
we have
okay,
not been told.
Would the NDC be okay if the EC decided to postpone the buying of new equipment to, let's say, 2022?
That will be amenable to, because like I indicated, normally after every decade we do change the register. We do improve on the system. That we are amenable to. But to make any attempt now to change the register, we would resist that.
Okay.
And we will do that through the lawful means.
Okay.
And when you talk about President Mohammed, the NDC held hostage for 8 months, who did that?
Okay.
2000.
So
let me just
I'll let you come back. I'll let you come back and finish your submission. But we need to take a short break. We'll be right back. Please don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. And remember that the show is interactive, so you can use the hashtag BreakfastDaily and send us WhatsApp messages on 0550-585832. So Abdul-Aziz was making a submission. I'll let him complete.
I just want to put on record that President Mohammed and the NDC, we are very democratic and we do everything that will strengthen our democracy. In 2000 elections when we lost, President Mills conceded defeat and congratulated President Kufuor. Same in 2004 and same in 2016. The current president is on record to have never conceded defeat at all. In 2008, if you remember, they even had to go, their party boys had to even go and stop President Kufuor from attending the swearing-in of President Mills. That's a matter of record. 2012, he never did. And so, it's part of them. It's part of them. If you want to know who is really democratic, and look, compiling a new register, it doesn't come at no cost to. They are requesting about 450 million Ghana cedis to be able to do that. Can you imagine what can do for our rural communities? Can you imagine?
Okay, you made a claim earlier on that they didn't come back to explain to us that when they said their systems were hacked.
Yeah.
But I have a story here, an online story here that says, this is on my journal line, says, EC makes U-turn. Our systems were not hacked, but, and then it's Ayuba making the comment here. He says, the Electoral Commission has made a U-turn with a denial that its systems were hacked during the critical period of election results. This is 2016, by the way, December 12th, 2016. It says, Deputy Director of Communication, Yusuf Ayuba, said while the system suffered some breakdown, it could not have been hacked into. Okay, and the story goes on there. So they said it wasn't hacked.
What Charlotte Osei told us was that their system was compromised.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Ayuba, right, says that there was a breakdown.
But it wasn't hacked. Yeah.
I never used the word hacked.
Okay.
If your system was compromised, according to Charlotte Osei, Mr. Ayuba now says that there was a breakdown. But it wasn't hacked. Does it make sense to you? Does it make sense to you? Does it make sense to you? The answer is a big no. But you see, what I'm also saying is that have they gazetted the 2016 general elections results? They are required to do so by law. In fact, I'm aware someone has even written to the EC about that matter. President Mahama has spoken about that issue publicly. You see, let the Ghanaian people vote and let's respect what they will vote for. Any attempt to steal the people's mandate will be resisted. We have been in power before. We have also enjoyed power. So having enjoyed power for 3 years, you fear that you lose elections and you cannot be in opposition. Respect the mandate of the Ghanaian people. Any attempt to subvert the will of the people will be resisted. That one we can assure you.
All right, let me jump to yes.
It's very heartbreaking to hear my brother speak this way, and I think it's about time we set certain records straight and let everybody know.
Let's do.
That's
you have a minute. You have a minute.
In the year 2008, there was no handing over in 2008. Get the fact right.
2009.
So it's clear that. May I finish?
I mean,
may I finish? No problem.
You know that
may
there was elections in 2008.
It's okay. Let him.
And it was handed over on January 7th, 2009.
Yes.
Simple logic. You can get it there. Go ahead.
You let him say what he wants to say.
In as much as you knew, you chose to say that it was 2008. And so it is also within my right to correct you that you are factually wrong. Secondly, you sat here on this platform and
It's okay.
You got the import of my communication.
Nana, continue.
Thank you. You also sat here and sought to make a claim that the Electoral Commission has never given any explanation for the statement it made that this system, to it, was compromised or whatever. What is clear is that the Electoral Commission came to say that their systems were not hacked. To it was not an outsider that sought to manipulate any system or any results. It was a result of their own capacities. When they say there's a system breakdown, it means that there's a certain expectation for it to perform at a certain rate, and it could not handle the load, and so as a result, it broke down. We all use computers. When your computer breaks down, what happens? Is it only because of a hacker that your computer will break down? Let's not try to introduce such logic into national discussions of importance like this. It doesn't help anybody. You sat here and sought to create the impression that somebody is doing something wrong just because there's a proposal that a register should be changed. In 2012, or just before the 2012 elections, when the register was being changed, was there any wrongdoing? Did the NDC have an ulterior motive for that? We are encountering a system in this government where the minority wants to undertake a system of governance of dictatorship by the minority. You were voted against. And voted against definitively. Listen, it is law that says the Electoral Commission is the one that has the mandate to do these things. You have said that you need to be convinced. No problem. Then allow yourself to be convinced by the facts. We haven't even gone anywhere else. Why is there so much tension and fear from the NDC quarter that they want to create the impression that something wrong is being done? The Electoral Commission has gone to Parliament, where it is mandated to justify its budget, and it is doing so. Why don't we allow those interrogations to go on there? You have representation in those committees. Why the need to create this unnecessary fear and panic as though something wrong is being done? And listen, you say that the NDC has shown a commitment to improving elections in this country. I worked at the Dankwa Institute for a period. The biometric verification, we worked on it and made several proposals before it was accepted. Right. It was rejected and we were pushed, but we had to make our case, and we did. It is the NPP. Look, after the 1992 elections, the NPP came out and said, we believe we lost. We did a review of the process and said, we want the ballot boxes to be transparent because we feared that there was ballot stuffing. That was a recommendation that was made by the NPP. Again, in the 2000 elections, all of those proposals that came out that were accepted was as a result of the hard work of the NPP. Listen, in the 8 years of NPP administration, from 2001 to 2008, they claimed there were no improvements because you didn't make any proposals for improvement. When we got back into opposition as a result of the 2008 elections and what went on, we started making proposals. And this time around, we're in government. And we are even saying that...
Are the improvements supposed to be made by the EC, or does it have to be by proposal from
I'm saying that it can be anybody. That's the argument I'm making. When you were in opposition, you decided that you do not want any improvements whatsoever. The NPP had in 1992, after the 1992 elections, looked at it and made proposals, which the Electoral Commission agreed with and accepted. After the 1996 elections, the NPP again made proposals, which the Electoral Commission looked at and accepted. Tell me which proposals the NDC has made. Tell me. Okay. In actual fact, they have been known to resist every attempt at improving the electoral machinery in this country.
Fair enough. Okay. Yes, your response.
You see, Nana, you are talking about the independence of the EC and that they have the mandate to do what they want to do. You have forgotten in 2015, 2016, the pressure that the likes of you, through AFAC and let my vote count, what we did to the EC. You were virtually dictating to the EC. You have forgotten where you are coming from. Today, when people make proposals, you think that's unlawful and I should leave the EC to work. Did you do that when you were in opposition? And you think we should do that today?
Proposal?
Listen. What you have not also addressed your mind to, what you haven't spoken to is the fact that all the improvements that we did were done under the NDC. For you to have made proposals that we respected through the EC tells you how democratic we are. And we have also failed to speak about the fact that the EC chair, the deputy chair, Samuel Tete and Sari Bosman have admitted that the register is credible. Why don't you want to speak to the credibility of the register?
Have I spoken to it?
You have said it is credible.
Mr. Host, have I spoken to it?
And so why do you want to change it?
Well, have I spoken to it?
You have.
No, I just want it on the record. Have I spoken to that?
You have.
So why is he saying I haven't?
But then he's saying that they are saying that it's credible, and therefore why do you have issues with the fact that they are saying it's credible?
And then the issue is, so why is he also refusing to integrate the fact that the statement was not just about the credibility of it, but this is what the statement was.
Yeah.
It is credible but overstretched. Why are you ignoring that?
That's fair enough.
Why do you be overstretched?
Have you read the statement?
Come on.
Have you read the statement?
You have forgotten where you are coming from. Let my vote count.
Have you read the statement?
AFAC, some of you what we did.
It's a simple question. Have you read the statement?
At Parliament, we have not boycotted the sittings.
Have you read the statement?
Next topic now.
And what does overstretch mean?
Overstretch. You are talking about manual verifications. Is that wrong? You are talking about the increasing levels of manual verification. And I have told you that you can cure that mischief through the improvement of the software.
How?
Aziz, do you want to run the show? Are you running the show for me? Aziz,
come
please,
on. Ask me how.
Gentlemen. All right, so let's go to the next topic. Politicians are having fun. All right, so the road sector. Minister orders demolition of illegal drains and arrest of contractors. Let me quickly read the story there on citinewsroom.com. 3 foreigners arrested for encroaching on Association International School's land. Okay, the story says the Ministry of Road and Highways has caused the arrest of 3 foreign nationals for constructing a fence wall on a portion of the road close to the Association International School at the airport residential area in the Greater Accra region. The 3 are currently in the custody of the BNI. The foreigners were also arrested for supervising the construction of a 22-story multipurpose building without the needed permit for the project. Speaking to the press at the site, Sector Minister Kwesi Amakwata cautioned officials at various state agencies that the issue permits to developers who build at unauthorized places to desist from it. I'm going round, and any individual or company that might have encroached on the road corridor and the road reservation, we are going to do the same. So this is just the beginning. Even if it's a building which has entered into the road reservation, I will pull it down. All right. So let me come to you, Aziz. It seems to me that he's been very bold and very decisive in acting upon being given this report. That is what is happening. This is happening here. What are your thoughts on what has happened?
I admire the spirit in the minister to see right being done and to insist that the wrong things must be corrected. I like the spirit. I mean, for a minister to have shown that zeal is commendable. What I am worried about was the emotional part of it. He was too emotional about it. He was shouting all over. I think that one, he could have avoided that. And it also raises the issue of who granted them the permits.
Yeah.
You see, state institutions would have granted them the permit to do what they are doing. And so instead of shouting all over and insisting that they put down the building, in fact, the minister, it's not a court to ask that they should pull down the building in itself. I'm sure he went.
Well, I think, to be fair, what we saw, he asked them to to pull down the structure that was on the road itself. But it seems that the structure was built on the road because a retaining wall that was supposed to have protected the road from collapse was a bit removed from the road. So there's a portion of the road that has collapsed. They built it for security reasons to protect people from falling into the gully.
Exactly. We don't have the actual graphical situation on the ground. But what I'm saying is that it was a good move that a minister insisted that the right thing be done. But what I'm condemning was the overreaction. He was too emotional about it. And when President Obama says that we need strong institutions and not strong individuals, this is what he was referring to. A state institution would have obviously granted them the permit to do what they are doing. And so let's get to the bottom of the matter. I also didn't understand why they would have arrested the workers. And I saw the video of they asked them to sit down in some form of arrest. These are just agents. These are just agents. You deal with the principals and not the agents. And so we must also have respect for their rights. They were only asked to come and work and be paid for their work. And so we should target our action towards the principals, those who engage them. And we should be finding out from the assemblies whether they granted them a permit to do what they were doing. But to instantly call for their arrest, detention, to pull down a building, some part of the building, the minister may have been overstepping his boundaries. I don't have enough information as to what actually he was asking that they pulled down. But I think he could have avoided the cameras, the overreaction, the emotions, and get to the root of the matter. But for our minister to insist that right things be done, why not? Let's comment that.
Okay. Nana Oppong, what do you make of it?
Proceed.
I am in awe.
How come?
I'm in awe that for the very first time, Aziz has been able to commend the minister.
No, but Aziz is known to be a very fair, balanced minded person. At least I know him to be so.
Unless fairness and balance have a new definition.
No, I don't think so.
If I may just make a point.
This one I'll defend him.
No problem. You're allowed to. But it doesn't preclude me from.
This is not fair.
It doesn't preclude me from being able to make my statement, which is, in my opinion,
you are in awe.
I am in awe because this is the first time I have seen or heard Aziz commend anyone who is linked to the NPP fraternity for anything good that has been done.
I don't think that's a fair comment.
This is my opinion.
Well, yes, it is.
So be it. If you say so, but this is my opinion.
Go on.
All I'm seeking to say that this is the very first time. Listen, what's important is that we all need to understand that a lot of the problems we have in our country is also as a result of how we do our politics. Whatever that is being done, be it good or bad, we always look at it from a partisan point of views, and it creates a lot of difficulties for us moving forward. There have been some times when I have seen politicians struggle to make very clear-cut decisions that they know will be to the benefit of the state, but they're also looking at the point of view that how will my political opposition spin this against me, even though this decision clearly is in the interest of the state. A clear example was what happened when the AKP, or the Plan of Development, was presented, and the sort of brouhaha that we had around it. But at the end of the day, what is clear is that the Petroleum Commission was always going to act in the interest of the people of Ghana. All sorts of figures were thrown around, 30 billion among others. It didn't help. Here we have a minister of state.
About?
No, that's okay. He's addressing the issue now.
Here we have a minister.
So what was it all along?
Here we have a minister of state who has been informed of a wrongdoing and has decided to take clear, decisive action. We may disagree with him that he may have overstepped his boundaries. He may have brought in extra, may I qualify it as extracurricular affairs into what he has done. But what we need to understand is that he was willing and able to act decisively. Whoever is behind this, whatever is going on, I think the message has been sent. And it's been sent definitively enough that whoever it is should know that we are in no place to accept such, actions moving forward. And for me, that's it. Moving forward, if there have been any infractions, and if anything has gone on, I don't think it is fatal. I don't think that can render all the other actions that have been taken wrong, and can ensure that whoever is behind whatever wrongful action that has or is being taken can get away scot-free. Perhaps we should commend him and also say that next time maybe his advisors should help him to streamline those things. I don't think that the shouting was a bit above board, because I think that the minister needed to make them understand.
Yeah, but I think that, no, but that one I would probably have to disagree with you on that, and I'll explain why. I think that the Rambo style approach that the minister used, and I watched the video 2 or 3 times, to understand different things. I think that he, as much as he addressed people who work in the state institutions, who give permits and all that, he addressed that issue whilst he was talking there. I think that should have been his first interest, because people are building. If you see the level of advancement that they've reached, right, it cannot be done on the blind side of anyone in the state. Okay, especially people within that jurisdiction who see it every day. Somebody is watching and is allowing it to go on, including the destruction of the road and the building on the road. You see, so for me, it's almost like you're coming at a problem with a sledgehammer when the real problem that should be faced with a sledgehammer is on the side. The small one that should be dealt with a smaller implement is rather being dealt with a sledgehammer. That's the way I see what's going on.
The state actors could not have even watched on if the individuals who are interested in perpetuating whatever wrongful action it is did not have the intention to do so.
Fair enough.
May I finish?
But what are the state actors supposed to do?
So, what is critical is that, look, there's an individual who has an intention, who fully well understands and knows that if this road was to be his private road, he would not have acted in a manner that he did. It's clear. Again, as for the state actors, look, we can do whatever it is, and there are procedures and measures for dealing with these state actors the way they've been dealt with.
Okay.
What you have is some individual who is clothed with private capital, who has decided that I am going to go ahead and act in the manner that I am acting just because I think I can. And I can buy or collude or do whatever it is that I want to do to get what it is that I want. And when it happens like that, the minister was very clear that not even the president, who is clothed with all the executive powers that he's been given in this country, can take such an action. Secondly, the president himself will not even take such an action. He made a statement that I love, the impudence with which they have sought to brazenly, broad daylight, conduct themselves. It flies in the face of all of us as Ghanaians.
And you don't think the state actors have responsibility
I
here?
am not challenging the fact that the state actors have colluded and they have a very strong responsibility that they have.
Conclusive.
Allow him to.
I'm just helping.
No, because it's a fair point that he's making.
The matter yet.
Okay, so you continue, finish up.
And have acted in a manner that flies in the face of the responsibilities that have been given them. That for us, on the face of it, prima facie, is clear.
Okay.
Listen, even if, and by collusion, I do not mean that any money or whatever has taken hands, but you have been given a responsibility and you've neglected to undertake that responsibility. It's very clear.
Fair enough.
I choose to see that as collusion. You can take me on if you want. But realities are realities. Facts are facts. And listen, people may lose their lives as a result of these actions. Ghanaians, you and I, this country belongs to this country belongs to us. It belongs to all of us in this public assets. We're already complaining about the amount of money. 2.3 billion is what we are going to spend on roads the next year. Now, if we construct a kilometer of road and somebody goes to destroy a portion of it, and every time we need to look, I'll give you a typical example with street lights. You'll be amazed at how much we are spending on street lights. Yet, year in and year out, you find out that a lot of the street lights are not working. What happens? People go and crash them, and when they are crashed, the police are supposed to ensure that certain amounts of monies are paid. Those monies are supposed to revert back to the quarters for us to use those same amounts of money to fix those street lights. What you keep seeing is go and do the Tema motorway stretch. Within 6 months, a lot of them would have gone. And remember that we are using these.
Why they steal them?
I'm coming. We are using transmission lines to light them. So when you break one and we are not notified and it's not fixed, then it creates a lot of problems for us. Then people go and start year in and year out We keep fixing the same set of street lights and we keep going down the same. At what point are we going to be able to grow from being able to do, let's just say, a crash street lights to going into the hinterlands and the rural areas? If every year, if it is 100 million Ghana cedis,
Yes.
we keep spending 100 million Ghana cedis to do the same thing.
No, for the first time, I agree with you perfectly.
Okay.
I agree with you
Okay.
perfectly. That we need to protect public property.
I like the bonding that's going on here.
Every day
today.
should be Christmas.
But I'm saying the minister could have avoided the drama.
Okay,
He
guys.
could have avoided the drama.
Guys, let's quickly touch on this story before we go. The landmark ruling, the Supreme Court rules for courts to sit on weekends and holidays. All right, so I won't read too much of it. The Supreme Court yesterday ruled that selected courts across the country are to work on weekends and public holidays during industrial action or strike to deal with matters that affect personal liberties. It also said that the power to determine incarceration or grant bail to suspects rests with the courts, and therefore persons arrested on suspicions, regardless of the jurisdiction and time, must be arraigned within 48 hours. All right, so let me come to you, Nana, just a minute to comment on your perspective on this.
Fundamental human rights upheld. This should have come a long time ago. Mm-hmm. Now that we've established this, I think we have some clarity in the operation of the law, and moving forward, we expect to see a high level of compliance with this from the police and from all respected agencies.
Okay, all right. Aziz,
good ruling, and I want to commend lawyer Pebu for the good work that he's doing, because he actually took this matter to court.
Yeah.
You know, if you remember, even the case of billable offences, it was the same person who went to court to test the law on that matter, and the court ruled that every offence is billable. This time he has gone ahead to seek for some ruling on the matter of not holding someone beyond the 48 hours without putting the person before a judge. And sometimes BNI, National Security, would pick you on Friday, hold you throughout the weekends. Monday they will play some delay tactics just to get you in their custody for long hours. I think that is not fair, and this ruling has come to at least cure that mischief. And I think that Lawyer Kwebu is doing well for our country in respect of the reforms that he's bringing into our legal framework.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. We have come to the end of the segment of the show. I want to thank my guests, Abdul-Aziz Mohammed, who's the MP of Mion. And is that how you say it?
Yes,
Mion.
yes.
Okay,
You got it very right.
And then also Nana Oppong Damoah, who's Director of Communications and Ministry of Energy. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. I'm most grateful. Most grateful.
Hi there. We hope you enjoyed the show.
Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share with your friends.
This is Breakfast Daily on Citi TV.
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Join us for breakfast daily, only on Citi TV.